Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Design Cities Skylines. I should probably stop saying my name is Strictoastair because, this is my channel and I'm sure at this point you know my name. So I am just going to welcome you to the city of Cedar Valley where we continue work on this massive airport. What a big project this ended up being. I remember when I started, bouncing around just like commenting on the idea of having an airport. I was just thinking, well, maybe it's just going to be a 1-2 episode stops. But man, we're on the third episode of this airport, and I feel like, we're definitely getting closer. We're definitely not going to be finished. Not on this episode, at least. There's so much work. What you see here, it's about 30 minutes of time lapse, which it came from about 4.5 hours of recording. But that's not all the time that I put into this construction. No. I think I've did another 2 or 3 hours on top of what I recorded. Just repeating the same things over and over again. It's probably not the best for to watch on a speed up footage. So to save you from boredom, I got rid of those clips. Actually, I didn't even record them in the first place. So that's pretty much how it works behind the scenes. But man, this was a crazy week for me. I didn't have a whole lot of time. I was working on other projects, and that I was also very, very excited. But unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to put into this, even though I managed to do quite a bit of progress in this episode. The format for this video is going to be pretty much 100% time lapse, except for the end of the video. We're going to have some beautiful cinematics. There's one of the takes that I did that I'm just like in love. It's very similar to the thumbnail of the video. It just looks amazing with the name with ZVX. Don't go to the end of the video. Just watch the time lapse first, and then you can go. Well, I guess you'll see it in time. So many things that I wanted to talk about. I have a whole list here. And I'm gonna first start by addressing something that it's actually not or wasn't recorded on camera, which is some work that I've been doing in regards to road layouts and to the runways themselves. I'm sure by now you can pretty much figure out that I changed the location of the parking lots, I changed all the roads, I changed the transit area by the terminal, so it's looking very, very different. We also have some green aspects in between all the different roads, but I think this whole area turned out amazing. It's not like a massive, like super crazy international airport. It's just like it's still international, but not not like a huge size airport. So some of these airports do have like mostly level parking lots, as well as some like trees and decorations. That super busy ones do not have trees in general. I've been looking at so many airports to get ideas, and you know what? From all the airports, in the previous episode I said that one of the inspirations was the Vancouver airport, and that's true about the runways. However, in terms of how the actual terminals look and how like the part in between the terminals with all the parking lots and the transit area, I was looking at the airport in Sacramento, which is not a huge airport. It has 2 runways and a big gap in the middle with some sort of parks. And I got a lot of ideas from that one. But to be honest, I've been just on Google Maps, just browsing airports for many hours, just getting all sorts of ideas from all over the place. And I think it paid off because man, it's just looking amazing. I'm really, really excited about the direction that this is going. I hope you are too. And another thing that I want to talk about is runways. Like I said a moment ago, I did change the layout a little bit. There's still 2 parallel runways and the diagonal ones. By the way, I did fix the signage or the markings on the runway. I got that wrong, and I got a lot of comments about it. That should have been all fixed now. I don't know if I have footage of that, to be honest, but trust me, it is fixed. It now says 08 right and left where they're supposed to go. And I'm sure that will make a lot of people very, very happy. Maybe a lot of people who couldn't sleep this past week. But no, it's that's been taken care of. And in fact, I added a few other things that we're probably going to talk about as whenever that happens on video, because I did add more details on the the runway area and the taxiway areas. One big problem that I was having, and I can't remember if I mentioned this in the previous episode, is that planes and actually I don't think I mentioned this because it happened literally after I finished recording the cinematics from the previous video. So it was the last thing I did. I noticed that the planes were landing on taxiways. I might have actually said this. In any case, not important. The thing is, these planes landing on taxiways made it very, very not pretty. So what ended up happening is I got rid of the taxiway where they were landing, and now we have one less taxiway, and we're gonna have planes. There is one remaining taxiway, but it's the wrong way, so planes do not land there because there's no connection to any other terminal. So I pretty much fixed it that way. However, I noticed another issue with what happens after planes take off. And the issue is that when I set up the airplane lines, I did this thing where there's like literally two diagonal lines coming from each of the corners of the map, and they meet in the middle. And that middle happens to be pretty much over the airport. And what this means is that when planes take off from the airport, they pretty much start going into like a really steep spiral, climbing to the right altitude, and then taking one of these lines connecting to a different basically outside of the city. And that doesn't look very nice. It doesn't look nice. One thing I did, and this was a request for at least 2 episodes, a very popular request, is to change the speed of the vehicles. B. Squigglehausen, the person who did all the plane assets that I have, he was actually I was Skyping with him a couple of days ago, and he actually showed me his airport, and he basically gave me the values for the speed so that taking off will be more realistic. Basically, he gave me the values of 0.3 for acceleration and 1 for braking. In case you have the advanced vehicle options, I think that's a mod where you can tweak the speed of pretty much any vehicle in the game. If you're interested, use those values. However, I had to bump it up to 0.5 for acceleration because they were taking way too long to take off, which is actually pretty realistic. However, coming back to this issue that I was mentioning a moment ago, since the lines that connect to the neighboring cities are right in the middle of the city, thus pretty much over the airport, planes were just like pretty much taking off. Like after they would lift off, they will just go vertically up, and that didn't look realistic at all. So I bumped the speed to 0.5, which means that now planes pretty much take off in the middle of the runway and still can make it to the line that connects to the neighboring city in a much nicer angle. And that brings me to something that I don't know if you remember, but several episodes ago when I was working on the harbors, we pretty much edited at some point the shipping lines because there were, we added bridges and things. So if you remember correctly, we were having a few issues getting all the ships to respawn after changing that. Pretty much all the harbors went kind of crazy and couldn't find the right path, and we were just having gridlocks of boats pretty much stuck all over the city. I'm seriously considering editing the shipping lanes, the airplane lanes actually, and have them, be closer to the edge of the map instead of just meeting in the middle. And in fact, maybe not even crossing them at all. So hopefully that may look or make the planes taking off and landing from Cedar Valley International a little bit more realistic. The downside of that is that if I do change, because I'm going to be using a third-party mod to make this change, that may cause some issues with the airport. I might have to replopp all terminals, which, it's not terrible.
I'd rather do it and have the planes look nice when they take off and they land. So I don't know. You let me know in the comments if that you think that's a terrible idea, or that's an okay idea. But I think I'm gonna do it, give it a shot, and figure it out. Just see if things improve from doing that. Now, talking about improvement, I did manage to find a workaround to the service roads when they cross the taxiways. So, and this is something that got me really, really excited. I wanna thank AJ3D, who is the creator of the Ploppable Rico mod. And I want to thank him especially because I'm actually listed in the description of the mod. I didn't realize this until a day ago. So if you're watching this, if you're one of the viewers, thank you so much for mentioning my channel. Corrales is also mentioned on that description. But the point that I was trying to make is that he created there's a new testing version of Rico. So what happens is there's a mod that you may know from Blooded Penguin called Node Editor that allows you to, pretty much edit the nodes of every single road that you have, or every single rail that you have, even the taxiways, the runways, hell, even the keys can be edited with this mod. And what the mod allows is to raise or lower the elevation of such node, which is amazing. I had this mod forever, but it never worked, so I pretty much ignored it for a while until someone mentioned that mod is pretty much a life changer, pretty much along the lines of Propline Tool, which is insane. So the thing is, I was reading the description in the Steam Workshop, and apparently a lot of people were saying that the default Rico, the normal Rico mod, was disabling the mod, and that's why it didn't work. So AJ3D put out a testing Rico version, which is the one I'm currently using, which works fantastically well, at least in my system it does. And it no longer conflicts with the node editor. So now, going back to my original point, the service roads and their intersection between the taxiways, you can kind of see it underneath that jumbo jet over there. What I did is just lower the elevation using the node editor for the service road, and that's it. There's no more conflicting textures. There's no there aren't any elements fighting for the z-axis, and also we don't have the 30-mile-per-hour sign. A lot of people in the comments were recommending saying, hey, use the traffic precedent to change the speed so that everything is constant speed, and yeah, that didn't work. It still generates the signs even if the speed is all 30 miles per hour. So yeah, unfortunately that trick didn't work. I tried that before, but I didn't mention it in the video. And you saw me there for a second using the node editor to lower the elevation of the road. You can rewind it if it happened a little bit too fast. Now here I'm doing something a little bit interesting. I'm adding, so in the previous episode I was confusing ALS and ILS. The difference is that one is a visual approach. ALS is a visual approach because it uses lights, whereas ILS is instrument guided. And I'm totally playing this by ear. I was looking at many airports and how they have their ILS set up. So this might be completely wrong, but as far as I could see, they have 3 nodes, one past the aiming point in the runway, one by the aiming point, and one before the aiming point. And it's pretty much a triangle around the area where planes usually land. And I'm guessing that location helps planes, or triangulates the plane's location and helps them glide properly into the runway. So again, this might be completely wrong, but I think I kind of got it right. So that's what you see me doing there on camera just a second ago. I even add some lights to make it look glowing red at night, which is I think it looked kind of cool. Let's see. One more thing I changed. You probably noticed this by now. I ended up changing the road color changer and started using Roads United with the North American theme. And basically it looks pretty much the same,
but it looks a little bit nicer, especially with roads that have the yellow lines, because they have like a really awesome, really saturated yellow line that looks amazing. So I think I'm gonna keep that for now. It's really, I haven't seen any performance issues on my game or anything. It just looks amazing, and right now I'm just building a heliport. But I'll come back to that in a moment. Because yeah, I've been all over the place. Like the way you see these clips, I come up with ideas and I need to like go do them and then come back to where I was. So I apologize in advance for that. There's going to be a lot of that, but it's all going to be worth it. It's all going to be looking amazing. By the way, that little almost shed that you see there, that red thing with the antenna, that's actually vanilla. That's not an asset. I'm sorry, it is an asset. It's just a vanilla asset, not a third-party one. And in fact, there's I was gonna do this on camera. I haven't done it yet, actually, in the game. Maybe for the next episode. There are some taxiway signs that are also vanilla. You know those little boxes that are right next to the taxiways that kind of guide you through the airport and tell you, hey, like runway A is that way, or like gates so and so is this other way. So unfortunately, the game has only 2 of those. It has a letter A with no arrows, and then a letter B with 2 arrows. So, which means that even if you had like, runway A and runway B, it's still like, you really don't know. I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot I can do to put them there. So, I don't know. I might include them and repeat them just because they look amazing, but it is really unfortunate there is not a variety in that. And I looked pretty much all over the Steam Workshop and I couldn't find anything. So, all right, let's see. So I mentioned this about fixing the runway markings. I moved the poppy lights. A lot of you were saying that I had them in a wrong place, so they are now right next to the aiming point. And I double checked that by looking at tens of airports all over the world, and it seems I noticed a lot of like differences in many airports. So there's not like a standard for like certain locations of different elements, but poppy lights for the most part were right next to the aiming point. So good news there. Let's see. Oh, you might have noticed at some point at the beginning of the episode, but I ended up putting a subway station right in front of a terminal. It's getting a lot of views. I mean, a lot of views. Like, I would say that 70% of the passengers are pretty much using the subway to go back and forth from the city. You see, the subway, the next stop from the airport, it's right downtown. So obviously a lot of people are just taking the subway, and it's just a shortcut. The whole line actually goes from the airport to the golf club that we built several episodes ago. So it pretty much cuts the city across in a diagonal, and it is now by far the highest traffic line that we have in the city. It carries around 2,000 passengers per day or per week. I don't know what the metric is, but it's kind of amazing. Yeah, the other 2 of the subway lines that we have only carry half of that, so you can get an idea of the sheer volume in that network. Trains are being used quite a bit too, so it's not too bad. The issue is that now buses are not being used all that much, but every once in a while someone rides the bus. Now over here with the helicopters, you may notice that I'm doing like red corners for the ones that do have helicopters in, and I left like a wide area for the empty ones. So this is obviously not like a thing. I don't know. I highly doubt it is, but in my mind it was like, I was thinking that if there's a helicopter in, you just see red light, which means that you cannot land, where if you see a white light, you can totally land. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Also, since I didn't have a whole lot of, helicopter markings, I ended up just creating my own with that, that's literally it's a pack for like UK lines. It's called UK roads or something like that. And I ended up using part of that to create like a target
around the little square for the helicopters. I don't know. It was kind of improvising, but I think it looks kind of nice. I do have windsocks pretty much all over the airport now. Well, not all over, but I have like 3 or 4, which was a request from many people in the previous episode. So there you go. That's another one. And one big thing that was that I feel like it's getting worse, unfortunately, is frame rate. Obviously, you don't really notice it now because, well, you're watching at this footage super sped up. This is about 800% speed. But even in the cinematics, those are accelerating. You will see that the cars are like pretty much zooming by pretty fast. And the reason for that is I'm getting like terrible frame rate now in the game. And yeah, for the most part, I think it's just all the agents. I recently learned that, I think Flux told me this, that the game can only render 65,000 agents. And by agents, I mean people walking around, or cars or trains, or, you know, those kinds of things. So the city is 90,000 right now, but the game only renders 65,000 elements, or agents, actually. That's the right term. And one of the main reasons I think my frame rate is going down is because of that. When I pause the game, frame rate improves a little bit. Unfortunately, my CPU is not used 100%. Also, my GPU is not used 100%. So the game is really not optimized to operate at this level, I think, and it's becoming a bit of a problem, especially to capture things on video. Because you know me, I have a pretty high standard when it comes to quality, so I do want to record this in the highest settings as possible, with the best quality that I can. Have like super smooth footage is kind of what I aim for. But unfortunately, this issue is making it really hard for me to keep doing that. So yeah, I need to figure out a way to maybe reduce some of the neighborhoods. And so we have a really dense area by the downtown area that could potentially be turned into a suburb. I really don't like the idea of, going back and destroying a whole neighborhood and just doing it again. Because, I mean, actually, for one, I actually kind of like how it looks. But I feel like if I do something like that, we'll never make real progress. There's so much to do in the city. From the top of my head, we need to finish the industrial area that I actually did rebuild a while back. But we need to finish that, because I don't know if you remember, and usually like show it from far above, and you really don't see the details, but it's really, really unfinished, and we really need to go take care of that. There's also like all the surroundings. There's a whole area on the other side of the river where we have the 3 empty islands. So all of that, it's quite a bit of work, and the closer we are to the downtown area, the less frames per second I have. Working on the airport is actually not terrible so far, because we're so far away, but even still that it's proving a little bit challenging. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I really want to like I said a couple episodes ago, I want to maybe try to start clean up the assets, just do a bit of a reset. But I feel like there's still so much that needs to be done here that I don't want to rush it. I just don't want to quit and start over, even though I would love to. But I don't know. I guess my point is I'm still thinking about it, still trying to come up with a proper solution. I might sort of wrap up the area that's really highly populated and maybe focus more on the outskirts. That's something that I'm one of the things that I'm considering the most. And what I mean by that is maybe work on a rural kind of town to the edge of the map behind the mountains where the whole city doesn't get rendered, and maybe that will help. I don't know. But I do want to complete some of the projects that we've been talking about for quite some time. For example, having some sort of leisure thing going on in the three empty islands, or at least in 1 or 2 of them. I do want to have a research center or a campus in one of the islands. So maybe that's something that will happen relatively soon, maybe. But this is just, to give you an idea of what the future holds for this series. I am having fun, which is, the most critical aspect of this. So I'm not stopping. In any case, let me talk a little bit about what you see on camera. I'm working on this fueling station. So I try to keep all these trucks yellow so that they look a bit more uniform. And I've been using, just a second ago, you saw me put 2 yellow vans. And what those are is, those are like British, I think they're British ambulances. And to be honest, they kind of look like trucks or vans for like the airport, like security. So you're going to see me just put them all over the place in the airport as if they were, like maintenance crews or, whatever. I think they looked amazing. And here I have this big chunk of concrete that I wasn't really sure what to do with, and it didn't look great on its own. So I figured, hey, like there's always construction going on at airports. Maybe this will be the perfect spot for a construction area. And it did. It was a perfect spot for it. Unfortunately I was lacking some of the assets, like actual like proper assets, and I had to improvise. So I was using those barriers, security barriers, to like limit the area of the construction. Because usually in airports, every time you see construction, you see the red and white, like barriers of sorts. And actually, I think that one worked great. So I'm pretty excited. In fact, I might do another big area, a construction area in a different part of the airport. So maybe the next episode. I really didn't finish all the detailing that I was thinking of doing. We're actually approaching the end of this time lapse, but we'll talk as we go through the cinematics. We'll talk a little bit about what's to come. But it's, man. Yeah, even though I didn't finish, we are getting close. It's looking amazing. Over here, for example, we have another fueling station. This is actually, I'm not gonna say one of my favorites, but it's like I like this a lot more than the one that you just saw a second ago, because I did this like bays, like I pretty much laid out 3 bays for the trucks to like be parked on, and together with the pipes, I think it just all came perfectly. I mean, everything is like super nice. Obviously, I would love to have more, specific assets for this, but if you dig through your even vanilla assets with the more beautification mod, it really does. You can do amazing things with not a whole lot. You just need to be super creative at it. And that actually brings me to another topic that I want to talk about before time lapse is over, which is the assets collection that I created for this series. And the thing is, I've been polishing it a little bit in the last couple of weeks. I cleared a lot of unused assets that I had for quite some time. Remember, we started this series over a year ago, and the assets that were in the workshop back then were pretty terrible in many respects. Some of them were really good, don't get me wrong, but there were a lot of not great things. And things that I actually never ended up using. So I pretty much removed all of those. We're still, I still have a pretty, big assets / mod count, but it's definitely getting better. It's definitely more manageable. And like always, I don't encourage you to go just subscribe to it. Just pick and choose what you want. And this is the money shot. This is the shot that I was telling you at the beginning of the episode. I just love how the camera just kind of rotates here and just shows you the entrance of the airport with those big letters right in the middle and all the trees and the bushes and the flowers right next to them. I'll just leave you here for a minute. Just take in all of the detail, all of the action that's just happening here. It's kind of mesmerizing. I spent many of the 9 hours that I've been that I spent on this map working, just looking at things, just like letting the simulation run at terrible 12 frames per second. But
even then, it looked amazing. Now, plans for the next episode. We're going to be continuing the detailing, most likely. We also need to do landscaping on the surroundings of the islands, because I haven't done any of that. All the runways have no details besides the little lights and markings. So we need to go to those areas and add some vegetation too. But unfortunately, yes, this is all the time that I have for this one. So if you enjoyed this episode, please give this video a like. That's very, very much appreciated. And also, if you're new to the channel, this will be the time for you to go click on the big red subscribe button. And that way you're notified next time one of these videos comes out. There's also a link in the description to the full playlist in case you might have missed an episode. But that's all that I have to say for now. I want to thank you all for watching, and really hope to see you in the next one.